Hello, good people. Welcome. So this is an impromptu video. It is currently December 21st. Let's see if I can go ahead and show it to you. Can you see it? I said 21st, December 31st. So the last day in 2024. So I am coming on here impromptu. I usually do a decade in review. I'm not a decade. Well, I've done a decade in review, but I usually do a year in review video. But I was like, I don't feel like doing that. I may do that around March somewhere. But there was something that I want to come on and talk about as we prepare for the new year. Technically, you should already be prepared, and you just ride on in because you've done your preparations. But there are some people who are still like, I just don't feel it yet, and I'll just wait until the following Monday, so they don't get so caught up in the hype. So here's almost like a PSA because there's like so many videos that have been coming across my feed. And it has sparked my hesitation about certain things. And I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and just address some things just in case, like when get big. And then people want to start saying, oh, I remember when. Let me go ahead and just say some stuff here. So I have been entrepreneurial on this entrepreneurial journey. I used to call it an accidental entrepreneurial journey. Then I stopped doing that. I've made like declarations. I've said using like things that I've offered, courses, programs, and things like that. But it just still wasn't quite like getting it for me. I was like, what is the problem? And I had to really understand, like, subconsciously, what is the deal. And I realized I did not want to be one of these people who come across as like just this self-help like guru, like jump into the personal development space or even the business coaching space. There are a lot, I'll get into that. Even though I've said I can help with business development, and that's because I understand a different perspective, not like I'm gonna help you grow your business, but it really about your mindset. And I was like, you know, um, I was just watching some other videos and I had to stop because, it was about people calling out people in the self-help space, so quote unquote gurus and things like that. And that's been why I've been hesitant on certain things. Right, I create a lot of stuff and I'll do some lives, but I like really putting it out there and I'm like, oh, I don't know. One, because I've had my own experiences with so-called coaches, and I've said this time and time again. Please understand that a lot of people that you're going to are consultants. They're just telling you, this is what I did, follow it. And if it's not working for you, that's because you don't have the full ingredients. They're not telling you every single thing, right? Nor should they don't really have to, but just go in and understanding what the deal is. And I was like, God, I really don't want to be this person. I don't want to be the person where somebody's like, oh, she was so focused on, working with schools and STEM in that capacity and all this, that, and the other, but I truly do not have the longing for it like I used to. And I was like, well, God, what is it? And so I was like, well, I didn't want to just call myself a coach because of the unregulated coaching industry, even though even people with the top quote unquote credentials is still, that doesn't necessarily make them good. And so, God had to remind me that you've been coaching really since 2002. When I was working in K-12, I said maybe 2000. I think it was 2002. I don't know. I was an academic coach way back in the day, and it was true coaching. Like people, the teachers who were struggling with their content area. My area was mathematics, and they just couldn't get the things together. So one, I had to talk them through, like, "Hey, are you up for this job mentally? Not in the mental health." And that's the other thing, that people are like, well, you talk about coaching in general, then people are link it to mental health. No, there's a huge difference. And I really do I hope people understand, like, if you need to go to therapy, you need to go to therapy. And I'm gonna bring up a conversation that I had with a friend of mine later on. But anyway, so I have been coaching, helping people understand that, dealing with children, especially at that time it was middle school and high school. Well, mostly high school. So I'd say around 2006. I don't know. Look, this is impromptu, so I ain't have my dates down, but just way back in the early 2000s. And just really working through that. And then we talked about curriculum and understanding how to walk you through the curriculum, put you on a coaching cycle. Let's do some observations and evaluations and feedback. Let's have a conversation. You got some goals, act professional goals. Let's go ahead and do that. And I had, like, looking back, I've been doing that, really throughout my academic career, and a lot when I became a professor, and even when I was paid as a consultant, I went in talking about culturally responsive education, but it was a whole deep, hey, what are your values? Who are you as a person? That's what we need to deal with. And I'm like, okay, so I wanted to make sure I stayed true to that, but I didn't really understand that going into the personal development space. I was talking with my friend the other day, and we were like, how did we get here? How did we get to a place where she was nervous about hiring another business coach and or getting wrapped up into personal development? Because, honestly, I talked to us on my channel, it can be a little cultish if you're not careful. And I said, exactly. And I said, you know what? I think I just threw caution to the wind. Everything that I knew within my core, everything I knew that I've been trained to do, whatever. And just because an experience felt good to me and I did get results, my life started turning around. I was like, oh, let me go teach that without truly understanding. Like I probably could have just stayed in consulting and built that had I been focused, or had I had a true coach to say, hey, let's build this out and see where this goes, and then you can pivot, versus just let me pick. Oh, I want to let everybody have the same experience that I did. And so that's how you get so many people wrapped up into the self-help space. Let me teach you the spirituality, and because you're in that. And then so these last couple of, I'll say this last year, 2024, I will say this last year, it has been a huge pump in the brakes where I'm like, okay, what are you doing for real? And I had to really be honest with myself and say, well, I just didn't want to just coach people on living their best life, even though my education background and all the things we had to take, it really is about goal setting and making sure you accomplish your goals. But I had to like be honest and say I didn't want to just be woo woo. I needed something tangible and practical. And can happiness be tangible and practical? Yes. Can joy be tangible and practical? Yes. But I had to, like, my background is still science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We still had to get something like, that we could touch. So I really just been sitting there looking at those things, and then I came up with my accelerator for actual skills that people can implement. And I was like, well, that's another thing. Some people are like, well, what gives you the qualification to do this? Because people are going after, entrepreneurs in the self-help space, and rightfully so. And I was like, if people are going to attack you, you can't. I'm not saying that you can't stop people from attacking you, but everybody are not haters, right? So it was like, what are you really standing on? So I had to go back and look at some of the results that I've helped people like produce that I don't project out, but behind the scenes, like what have I been helping people do? What tangible things? And then as a benefit of those things, they have a better life. And so I was like, okay, so I really sat down to do that. And I was like, because I just didn't want to be a coach and say, well, and I told y'all this, like, I don't want to be like, well, what's up for you today? And I had some coaching clients where we mapped out, these are your goals, the plan. All right, check in with me. But it was just something bigger than that. And I was like, I'm so over it. And I'm looking at my past experiences. I think I've taken like the last maybe 6 months, really. I mean, probably wasn't the best use of my time, but hey, that's just where I was in the space. And since God doesn't leave anything out, all things work. Um, I really started researching like how are people showing up to these webinars or these opportunities, like to learn more about a business and grow. And it really starts with you yourself, knowing yourself. And I know it sounds so much personal development, but it's really not. It's who you need to be in order to accomplish that goal. And that has been the missing link that I've seen. And that's what I was telling my friend. I said, well, and the reason why we're a little hesitant, or we just got so caught up in this atmosphere, is because, we were from a place where it was like, oh, we're broken in a place. We're just trying to find the answers to something, like fix this, which was good. But what was the goal? Why did you want to get healed or fix, quote unquote? Well, you're not broken, but, we're putting some things together that I don't, everything doesn't require therapy, but there are some things you got to be honest with yourself where you need to go to therapy. And my friend was like, you know what? On a certain situation that she was dealing with, she was like, that's where I needed to go to therapy. And then I could have gotten more out of this, or I wouldn't have been so latched on into this particular experience had I truly dealt with that issue. And the things that I learned, in coaching, same thing that I learned when I would teach my students. And I was like, wait a minute, this is similar. These are things to cope with or things to get through and work through obstacles. And ultimately, it's so you can achieve a goal. For my students, it was so you can pass this math class, or at the college level and beyond, is so that you can get your degree, so that you can be a trained professional, so that you can be this assistant principal or principal when you're going to that level. When I worked at the university, so that you all can go back and be the leaders and the admin team for your district. That's why we are working on these things and understanding your limiting beliefs or outdated beliefs and all of that work, so that you can move forward and do XYZ. Now, if you're still hung up on something and these exercises are not causing you to move forward, then I need you to go get some counseling, right? So I'm saying all that. One is to continue to help myself process and understand that if this is the space I'm going to be in, I was like, I really need to understand, where am I going? What do I need to move forward? Do I just need to go ahead and be a professor and go and start investing and just live my life that way? Start a business, as in it doesn't require me to be the product. Start a business like, do I need to go sell some t-shirts or invest in some property? Because there are all different ways to you know, start a business without being an advisor, coach, or consultant. And I don't know why people keep thinking like, oh, monetize your genius or your expertise so you can be a coach or consultant. That is not true. And I think that's why I put a pause on my accelerator, because even though there are skill sets to take place, I don't. Everyone doesn't need to be a coach or a consultant, a mentor, and advisor. You don't. You could use your things elsewhere. And anyway, I went down the rabbit hole. I forgot what I was talking about. But anyway, I just want to make sure that it wasn't just and I'm not editing this, even though I'm not doing it live. I'm doing it live on this video, but I'm gonna put it out raw because I don't want to edit. But I didn't want it to just be like a lot of woo-woo stuff. I wanted to have something tangible, and then like all the videos that have been coming across my feed, I'm like, well, God, are you trying to tell me something? And I just think He's like, just be prepared, because people are getting exposed, um, saying self-help, and I know people are like, well, you can find this and that and the internet, and you can do that for free. You don't need to charge people this much, this, that, and the other. And yes, you can find everything you need to know on the internet for free, but you can't find people's insights and their expertise. And when I say expertise, it's like something that people have really lived through, studied, worked through, all of those things, the insights that you gain, you can't get that from AI or the internet, but they can get you some structure. And then understanding, like, what do you value? You can't get community from the internet. And when I say community, I don't mean just being in a Facebook group. And I think that's what a lot of people forget. Like, oh, well, I'm in this group. When they say, well, you're getting a community, if that person is not in there with the community, if they're not curating experiences with that community, then you're just in a stale group. So don't fall for that. Don't fall. Again, it's so much I want to say. I hope I'm just not rambling too much, but just be careful what you are looking for. I'd say this a lot. You are your own coach. You can do some things for yourself. You can start goal setting and planning and setting intentions for yourself. Now, you may want a consultant and when I say a consultant or advisor, to help you look at things from a different perspective, because we all have blind spots. And that's what you invest in and get somebody to work with you for. And I know people say, well, it should be free. Well, honestly, school wasn't free. If you went to college or you got a trade certificate and things like that, it wasn't free. Now, I don't agree with everybody just sticking a high ticket price on something and you think that you're going to get more because it costs more. No, but I do think there's an atmosphere for being premium and being at that level. And you got to make sure the entire experience is at that level, not just saying, hey, work with me for $5,000 because it's my worth. No, no, no. Do you have can you provide 10 times of that value? And I'm not being arbitrary. It's like, does your life genuinely become better, or can you actually have a toolkit that you can use over and over? Just like I know people say, well, college was a waste of time. Not really. When you break down a lot of things, you are equipped with a lot of tools that you can still use. And so that's kind of how I'm seeing it. And that's the what I wanted to do. It's almost like adult life school, not so much like life coaching because I know that can feel like woo woo. And you'll see some of my videos where I was talking about life coaching, but it still felt like I didn't want to call myself a life coach. But I do consider myself like an advisor, mentor, strategist type person. That's why I call myself the brilliant solutionist. You got a problem, I can help you find solutions to those problems, point blank, period. Practical applications to complex situations, and that's what I've done pretty much all my life that I can remember. But I was just so focused on like it not being enough, where literally my friend validated to me. She was like, "That's exactly what you do. Like I can call you out of nowhere and say this is it, and you know." And I ask you for advice, and whoop, there it is. So I know that I'm really great at doing it. However, I still make sure that I want to make sure I work in my craft and not just go based on something that I read. And that's kind of the like that's why it's kind of like the wild wild west out here. The other thing, like I said, going back to adult life school, think about it like this, especially those of you who are going to go out there with coaches. Slow your roll on trying to grow a business and start a business and finding quote unquote business coaches, because if you're mind isn't right, and I mean like your mindset, you don't have that drive, you don't have a clear path of what you want to do, or you're not willing to put in the work for the long term or long haul without actually seeing the results. Like right after, like, well, you said if I worked with you for 6 months, I was gonna have six figures. Stop falling for that and work on yourself. And when I say work on yourself, I don't mean go into the black hole of personal development, self growth, or anything like that. I told you I learned the term personal leadership from Shanda Sumter, and I had to sit with that. Like, what does that really mean? I have a whole degree in leadership. My whole dissertation was about a form of leadership. So I had to take it from that context and that perspective. And it was like, am I able to have a vision and delegate everything towards that vision? Move either myself forward or people forward, resources forward to make sure I get that end result no matter what. And so a lot of times, and I've done this, you jump into trying to start a business or a side project, hustle project. You want to be a speaker, you want to be an author, you want to be a coach, consultant, you want to sell to corporate, you want to, start your Etsy shop, you want to do all those things, but you haven't put yourself in a position to say, let me check my habits and my character traits as is right now. Can this person, as is, accomplish those things? And most times it's not, because there are some things you need to do. Just like if you, a lot of my reference, are school based. Going to college, a lot of us, many of us, and let me know if I'm wrong, you went in there, but you kind of was like mentally groomed to go into college. Like you've already been trained through K-12 school, so you know to get on the schedule. But you probably had a lot of influences around you talking about what to expect at college, and you're going to be by yourself, or you have to be like your mini adult version of yourself, or prepared. Just it was a lot of buzz. So you were already mentally prepared to do that and handle that. Because think about it, and I talked about this before. If you just look at your 17, I was there at 17, but you're a 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old self, and you're figuring out things like, how were you able to do that? One, because you were kind of groomed into that, conditioned, I would say, into that. And then you were placed in an environment to where you had that support system. Even though some people say I did it on my own, but college was set up like an ecosystem to get you, to help you through the process overall. Now, some people fell through the cracks, and that's for the but that's life. So think about it now as an adult. Oh, let me back up. But then you had something to strive for. It's like, I'm going to get this degree. I'm going to get this job. I'm on this 10, 15-year, sometimes 20-year plan. Okay, great. But guess what? A lot of us, when we've gotten older, we've had those accomplishments, and we haven't started to dream or look around or set that next vision. And it's automatically, well, let me start a business. And that's not what you need to do first. You're going to have to go back and start reconditioning your mind. So think about anything personal development and things like that. Is setting the foundation of, okay, let me step back. What do I really want? What do I want now? Right? What's next? Because you've been living in your dream for a couple years now, and then it's like, whoa, whoa, and that's where that feeling of being unfulfilled came from because you don't have anything else to strive for. So all of this that I'm saying, and let me know if it's resonating with you, is when you're starting your new year, new me, just make sure you work on making sure it is a new you, because you can go into a new year with old habits, old behaviors, old mindsets, old intentions and things like that, because technically it's just another day on the calendar. It can be February 22nd and you can decide, you know what, that's my January 1st, new me, new year type of thing. So don't get so caught up in the change of the calendar. Make sure that if you are wanting to improve your life, yes, I do suggest you watch some videos, read some books. If you're a Christian, go pray to God and ask for direction. But when he sends you help in form of a, let's say if it's a program or a retreat or some type of course that you can be in community, don't be so resistant to it, talking about, oh, I got to pray for it, because you already did and he gave you the answer, right? Or if it's, I don't want you to start the business, right? I don't want you to start any type of business because I want you to work on who you are for yourself in this job right now. Then that's what you work on. Get some support there. So when you're going into this, you're going to see so many ads, you're going to see so many posts, and so many people are saying, come buy my book, come buy my program, come join me, do this, that, and the other. Go to certain things for free before you start investing. Don't be so emotionally caught up, but go to some things, see what you can gather. And then if you truly believe, you know what, I don't want to do this on my own. I do want someone who can help me be accountable with myself. I do want somebody to help me put some systems in place for my life and to really understand what I'm trying to accomplish right now in this season of my life. And know that sometimes it's going to be more than an 8-week program, or it may take a year, it may take two. So think about anything on that side that's not the actual like weight loss because you can see the immediate results, or business because you can get the money, right? Think about when you were going to undergrad, you took so many other different types of courses that were outside of your major, but eventually they all work together for you to get the result. So anything that doesn't feel like it's going to scream, get money now, or scream, get a better body now, just know the subtle things that you've been avoiding, like all the other areas of your life, your belief system, your value systems, how you're making decisions, how you are showing up to be productive. What habits are you having? What do you think about yourself? What are you not thinking about yourself? What are you what are you self-aware about what's happening with you and what's around you? Those are the building blocks for you to accomplish what you need to accomplish in 2025 and beyond. And so I said all that, because you will start seeing different things from me, leaning a lot on personal leadership. And I was like, I don't want to do that. But then I thought about it, the vision that he gave me way back in 2020. And if you've been around, you saw me talk about my boot camp, which I'm naming it the accelerator. I talk about 5 skills that you need. It's like 6 now, but I talk about 5 skills. But guess what? Those are the skills that I use as a college professor, right? And I don't talk about this much, but as a college professor, I was already paid to be speaker. I was paid contracts from school districts and things like that. I was paid to host, facilitate workshops and online events and things like that. I don't talk about it, but I had to remember that for myself. Like, oh, go me. Um, but underneath those things, guess what? You still had to work on your worthiness, your identity, your mindset, your belief system, your values and things like that. So what you'll be hearing from me, especially for this first quarter, is really about building that foundation of you, of taking it back. It's like we're going to go to college. If you never went to college, then you're going to get that experience over here, whether you choose to stay with me on the outside for free or you come into my inner circle. Either way, you're going to start seeing that. But just be mindful, use wisdom, you know, use wisdom. And some of the videos that I've done, I'm not taking any of them down because they all represent my journey. But a lot of them, if you go back to anything, well, this is what you said over here. Remember this video, because everything is an evolution. And this is the time to really be true to yourself and understanding your overall purpose, but then make sure you understand your calling and your assignment for the season that you're in. Your overall purpose, I don't think changes, but your assignment, where you are supposed to relay your message and do what you're supposed to do, changes, and your calling, wherever area, God may lead you can change. So for those of you that are trying to jump ship, you don't like your job, be thankful that you have one and work on yourself while you are there and start preparing yourself before you jump out here, because there are a lot of people in the entrepreneur space who I'm gonna say both. Some of them have been successful and they were like, I just don't want to be in that season anymore where it's all on me. I'm going back to get a job because I need to let some other things, go. And kudos and shout out to them, right, for being honest like that. I wish more people were honest. And then there are some like, you know what? This is not cut out for me. I don't need to do everything on my own. Let me go back to this for the quote unquote security. We know that jobs aren't like secure, but there are certain people, there certain jobs are just always gonna be there, right? And so they're going to that to allow them to go back and release some of that mental stress so they can focus on other areas of their life. Now, I don't think everyone should be an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur is what I am learning is very different than just making some money. I heard somebody say this. I heard it on Kendra Lewis. She did a video, but she said her daughter said it. So I'm going to say Kendra's daughter because I don't know her daughter's name. She was like, there are people who want to be entrepreneurs. They say they want to be entrepreneurs, but what they really want is they just want to make money. And I was like, you know what? That is huge. And I wish I would have understood that distinction early on. So that is my gift to you. Just make sure that if all you do is just want to make money, then say that and be okay with that. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to do that. You can start now. I do believe people can have some side things going on because there's just things you're not going to be able to do with just one stream of income. But then you can learn how to that's a whole nother thing. But I do believe that everyone has something else inside of them where they can have more impact, influence, and income. And it could be something on the side. It could be investing in a car wash business or getting property or doing t-shirts. So it can be anything like that where it doesn't require you to be a full-on entrepreneur. Some people can speak on the side and make 5 to 15K, and things like that. But it doesn't require you to be this whole entrepreneur. But anyway, so understand that about yourself. Understand that you're going to have to do some of the unsexy work of not going after the bag directly or um, getting the clients. You're going to see a lot of that. It's not always about that. You're going to have to do some of the unsexy work. And I had to be like, okay, God, if you want me to be a part of that, because I taught mathematics and that was not like the best subject for people to come into, but it was like the necessary subject. So maybe I was equipped to do that. So you will start seeing me talk a lot about personal leadership, but as it relates to who you want to be as you're showing up in the world. You can't come to me if we're not going to work on any foundational about what are you trying to accomplish, whether it's in 3 months, 6 months, a whole year, or 2 years, long term. I think that's what got a lot of us, kind of, messed up a little bit because we were trying to go after the short, easy fix, or we gravitated because we've had an experience of this and we're like, well, maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Not necessarily. So, again, and be honest with yourself. Do you really want to have become an entrepreneur? If that's something that you're willing to work through, go look up character traits and characteristics of what it means to be an entrepreneur. Look at what it means to be a business owner, and then somebody who just wants to just make some extra money, right? Nothing wrong with any of those. Just be honest with yourself and really sit down and say, like, whatever you wrote for your plans or your goals for 2025, just really think about, is this what I actually want to do? Is this where God is taking me? Am I meant to do this? Because He may say, scrap all of that. And are you willing to do that? I look on my phone and my screensaver that I have for some of the things I didn't accomplish in 2023, which I know why. And I'm gonna keep it on there because I like the visual that I have, but I only have three. I got three goals for this year, just three. Just three. Two two business, one personal. I'll share a little bit about two of them, not my personal one, just because y'all need to know everything, right? But um, and just go be honest. And it took me some weeks to, because I had already started thinking, I was like, I don't want to just be writing some on January 1st, but it took me some weeks to really work through and process some things. And that's what I've been doing for the last month and a half, and saying, okay, is this the direction we're going? Because we want to build out, a company. We don't just want to be like one of these people like, oh, I coach, I get some clients here and there, and I got some income coming in, because that's a tutor. That's like, a tutor. You starting a tutoring business. I don't want a tutoring business, right? And um, so I had to really sit down. It's like, where's this going? Because it bothers me. It started to bother me how much is coming. And of course, I know that it's my subconscious allowing it to come to me. But I'm like, okay, guys, we got to work through it, to where people are like, oh, it's so woo woo that, there are scammers in the self help space, where people getting their degrees from and their credentials from and things like that. And I was like, I do not want that to be me. So I revamped a lot of the things that I had been doing. Not saying that I was coming off scamming, like that wasn't, but I just knew that there was a blockage there, to where things weren't flowing like they used to. And the blockage was me. And I had to work through that. And I use my own tools that I share with other people. I'm like, okay, God, what is it? And divine intervention with Holy Spirit, just real talk, that's what it was. And say, okay, this is the direction we're going. So yeah, if you never work with me, um, that's great. That's fine too. But I don't want you to think that someone, like, you're going to work with people because you think they're gonna give you the answers and solve all of your problems. Honestly, true coaches don't tell you what to do. They draw questions out of you, draw your own solution. You are your own solution. Even though I say I'm the brilliant solutionist, that's because I can draw the solution. I can, based on what you say, I can hear the solution, but I got to help you see the solution that you already have. If you want somebody to tell you exactly what to do, then you're going to a consultant or a strategist, and you're like, hey, I want to be, I want to get on stages and speak. Okay, here, this is what you do to get on stages and speak. But then when it's time for you to write your keynote or your talk, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't get this out. I can't share the story. I got stage fright, or this, that, and the other. That's where you come over here, and you got to work on the things that are going on beneath the surface, or you may need to go get some therapy. And but you gotta understand, which one is which. Is like, if you're doing exercises, let's say one of the exercises that you do is to, visualize yourself on the stage, and then, or you can get up and you rehearse it on the camera, just something like that. And then you're like, okay, I'm good. But if you're starting to break down on that, then you may need to go back and find where that is. So just understand, the people, even me, I don't have the solution to your problem. I can give you a key. I can, help you crack the door. I can shine the light in the direction for you to go in. But it really is you. And I think, so that you don't get caught up in the hype of 2025, is that stop looking for people to fix you. Stop looking for people to give you the exact answer. You got to think. You're going to have to go through some stuff. You got to process on your own. You got to do the work. And that's what I've been doing when I was indirectly researching these different things. People are not willing to do the work. They're jumping from program to program, coach, consultant, whatever, whatever. And then they want to holler that things are a scam, or like, I could have just read that in the book. Well, why didn't you? Or I could have just watched this on YouTube. Well, why didn't you? All right. So I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to make sure that I get it uploaded in time so it can be time stamped, that it was for my last video of 2024, and the direction that we're going, same direction, but I just wanted to put that out there of, uh, be honest with what you want, be honest with your expectations, stop looking for people to give you the the one the one step secret to, whatever. And stop thinking everything is a scam, but do your due diligence. but be honest with what you want. You can't just go into, especially a place like personal leadership. You can't just go in there and say, I just want to have my best life ever. Well, what does that mean? What does that look like? And really take some time. And if a person is not going to walk that out with you and sit with you and take that time, then don't be upset when you show up at the end of the 3 month, 6 month program with nothing. All right, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening and learning with me as we go into the next year. The next calendar year. I'm so excited, but even if you're watching this years down the road, you can start your new season at any point in time. If I still have the foundational program available, but whenever you're watching, it may be on self study at that point or evergreen. Make sure you still catch that because I told you my big mission is to bankrupt 1 billion burial plots, help 1 billion brilliant people bankrupt a billion burial plots. And that's really about living a life poured out above ground before you go underground. There's so much inside of you that needs to be uncovered and rediscovered. And you need to really start dreaming again and embracing your brilliance, expanding your life, new possibilities, exploring new possibilities and elevating your reality. So all of that is what I am on a mission to do, whether that's working with one-on-one people or individuals, small business owners or corporations, which include individuals as well. All right, so I'm rambling. I will see you all in the new year, hopefully. Leave me some thoughts and comments down below. Let me know your takeaway. Let me know anything that you picked up on that you want to discuss more about, or just share your thoughts. And make sure you like the video and subscribe to my channel because that is going to get us moving closer towards one of the sub goals that I have. All right, everyone. Bye.